Hey guys, it's Mallory Varner with GSG, and I'm the Vinyl Decorating Segment Manager. We are in the middle of our series, Creating the Holiday Spirit. All right, so I'm excited to get this series started. This is with our latest partner, STAHLS, and it is a 3-part series on creating the holiday spirit, where we are going to work with Jenna, and she's going to show us some really, really cool stuff. So if you haven't heard of STAHLS, you definitely should check them out. They have a wide range of unique products in the HTV world and some PSV and some letters and numbers. There's a lot out there, so definitely go check them out. We're excited about them as our newest partner. All right, so also you want to be sure and pay attention at the very end, where I am going to tell you how to win $500. There is a way to win $500 with every one of our partners throughout this contest through October 15th. So stay tuned at the end so you can find out how to win. All right, so let's go to Jenna.
Hey everyone, and Jenna from STAHLS. Thank you, Mallory, for the great introduction. I am super excited to be participating in the GSG holiday event. And we are kicking off these 3 series talking a lot about heat printing apparel for the holidays. Now, there are so many different ways and so many opportunities to be able to target specific markets within the holiday. And one specifically we are going to be talking about is the sports market. Now, whenever I think about holidays, one tradition that my sisters and I share is that we all get each other a set of pajamas. So this is going to be a great discussion on different gifting items that you can do with apparel, but also think outside of the box and all of the different markets this can also reach. This is going to be specific to fan wear apparel. Everyone has a favorite team or a favorite person that they are a fan of. So why not decorate some apparel, a pajama set, or any type of gifting item that is going to be personable to the person that you are giving it to. So in this session, we are going to be doing a pajama set, and I sourced my apparel from Boxercraft, and we're going to be decorating it using the tried and true STAHLS CAD Cut Ultra Weed. And this product is extremely easy to work with, very user-friendly, and no matter what vinyl cutter that you are using to cut out this heat transfer vinyl, it is going to be very easy to weed. So we're going to start by weeding this so that you guys can see just how easy it is to work with. All right, so I am selecting a STAHLS Easy Weeder here, but you can use any type of weeding tool that you like to use. All right, and I really wanted to preface this because of just how easy this product is to weed. Because whenever you are cutting vinyl, that is one thing that is a pain point, right? Being able to weed away the excess material and it not be too time consuming. So that's the beauty of working with CAD Cut Ultra Weed, why I love working with it, because you can see that this material is just peeling away like butter, right? So one pull there, we were able to tear away all the excess material. Of course, now we do need to go back in for those cavities. And one thing that makes picking out cavities of material very easy is make sure that you're not getting too intricate with the design that you are customizing for the person that you are gifting. So you can see here, even though I am using a nice script text here, I'm still using pretty nice block letters. The script isn't too thin where it could easily tear, or it's not too intricate in that it would be hard to pull out any small pieces or cavities. Right, I did use a weed border, which is what I am peeling away now. That helps with just having that start point. So as I mentioned, we are going to be using the Ultra Weed to decorate a pajama set. And the brand that I chose for this is Boxercraft. Boxercraft does a lot of trendy apparel very, very well, and that they do keep the decorator in mind whenever they are manufacturing their products. So if you're looking for a great way to source Boxercraft at case pricing or wholesale, SNS Activewear is a very great resource, or you can also buy direct from Boxercraft. This style is extremely popular. This is their cropped Varsity jersey. So you can see we have this nice Varsity seam here. It's incorporating the Varsity stripe. But this garment, even though they are using a heavy 100% cotton, it is still very, very soft. It doesn't have any like fibers sticking up that cause it to feel rough or anything. So I really love that the cotton that they use to produce these styles of t-shirts. Now, as I lay this garment across the 16 by 20, you can see some pain points here on how this could possibly be a little bit difficult to decorate. And the reason that is because of this seam that we have here. We have a seam right in the middle of the garment. And then of course we have a seam at the collar, both of which are thick enough that they can cause uneven pressure. So whenever we're working with heat transfer vinyl, there are recipes in which we have to follow to ensure that that product is going to apply accurately. CatCut Ultra Weight applies at 300 degrees, making sure we have a nice flat, even pressure, that medium pressure that is called out in that recipe, and it applies for 10 to 12 seconds. So we need to make sure we are following that recipe, even down to making sure that that pressure is accurate. If we need to get a medium pressure for Ultra Weight to apply to this garment correctly, what we need to do is make sure whenever we are locking down our heating element, that it is only hitting that print area, not the two seams, right? Because these are very thick seams. If I were to lock down that upper heating element, that would cause uneven pressure, that would get most of my pressure, and my print area would not be cured to the garment because it's not getting that right pressure, right? So to help with that, there are accessories that you can use. This is the 60 by 20 Hotronix Auto Clam. Very popular heat press in the industry. You've probably seen it in videos, at trade shows. You may have one yourself at your business. The beauty of working with the Hotronix Auto Clam is the interchangeable platen-ins, okay? So we are able to interchange these platen-ins with a little pin and a quick latch that allows me to pull these up out. So they're able to drop in a smaller surface area to isolate our print area, right? So this is an 11 by 15 platen, and I'm going to put it in the bottom and the base of my heat press, lock that latch there so that it's not moving around on me. And now I'm able to properly thread my garment on there. All right, so 11 by 15 platen allows us to really drop down our print area, avoid any thick seams that can cause uneven pressure. Now, as you can see here, my collar is still on the platen, and I really want to make sure that we are avoiding that. Now, my print area is still going to overlap, or my design is still going to overlap that seam a little bit. I am doing a 2-color design. So all I'm going to do to make sure that I am getting the right placement and see exactly where my placement is going to lie on the garment, I'm going to template that out and see exactly where it's going to be placed. All right, so standard for printing, a basic crew neck style garment is 3 fingers from the collar, or 4 fingers from the collar, 3 inches down, okay? So to repeat, 4 fingers down from the collar, that measures out roughly 3 inches, which is ideal for where you want the start of your design to be placed. Now, because my design is still overlapping this seam, there is another heat printing accessory that I can use to ensure that my design is going to apply over that seam and get the pressure that it needs. Those are called heat printing pillows, okay? This pillow is thick enough that it is going to allow that seam to sink down in, but still cure my adhesive over the seam and to the garment properly so that I'm not having any pressure issues. So all I have to do is place this over my 11 by 15 surface and rethread my garment. So whenever I thread my garment, I'm making sure that I'm working with just 1 layer of my t-shirt. All right, and now I'm just moving it around to make sure that I'm even across the platen so I don't have a design that's crooked or off placement. And how I do that is just by lifting up the sleeves, getting a good overall view of how it's being laid on my print area so that I can easily lay out the rest of my design. Now, because I have changed out my platen and I have inserted a heat printing accessory, I did increase the density, or the thickness that's going to be underneath my heating element. So whenever I lock this down, what I want to do is test my pressure, right? So it is a little hard to push down. Anytime you work with the clam, if you have one, you know how easy it is to work with. It's not physically taxing. So it shouldn't be extremely hard for me to lock this down. So now I know, even at a medium pressure, that is a good feel of the upper heating element. Now, or the pressure of the upper heating element locking down. Now, what's nice about Hotronix machines, whether it's the Clam or the Fusion family, they do give you a pressure readout to ensure that you are getting an accurate pressure. So I'm sure you're picking up on that trend now. I'm talking a lot about pressure and getting a nice flat surface area. Anytime you're working with heat transfer vinyl, that is key to making sure that it's going to apply accurately, and also that you are going to be able to put it through a wash cycle and it hold up those 50 plus washes that it's guaranteed for, okay? All right, so we are, as I mentioned, working with a 2-color design. As I tested my pressure, that allowed me to also do a preheat. Anytime I am working with apparel, I always make sure I do that preheat. That preheat is going to allow me to release any moisture or wrinkles in the fabric and make my application go a lot smoother. All right, so I am templating my design because I do want to apply the white Ultra Weed first. So I am making sure this is all looking good as I place it, how I want the design to look once it's applied. So by templating this, it's showing me where exactly my white is supposed to lie on the garment, and then I can apply the black. So with heat transfer vinyl, single color heat transfer vinyl, you want to make sure that you are applying each color separately. Now I am going to use a craft paper cover sheet, okay? This is going to cover my garment and my design to ensure that nothing that could potentially be on there is going to stick to my upper heating element, right? So Ultra Weed works with a 3 to 5 second tack, okay? So anytime you are doing multiple colors, you can use a tack method, which allows you to start curing the heat transfer vinyl to the garment. And then you can go in with the second color and apply for the full time. All right, so we did have some lifting, and it's okay that this happened, right? We can actually place this right back down on the garment and reheat apply it. Sometimes this can happen if you are doing the second tack, and it's totally okay. So I'm actually glad that this is happening so that you guys can see that this is totally normal. All I'm gonna do is just place my carrier back down, make sure the heat transfer vinyl that didn't apply goes back in place where it should. All right, so that's the beauty of working with a product that has a tacky carrier, is that I can place this heat transfer vinyl right back in place and then heat apply. Right, just takes a little bit of maneuvering. Right, so we'll place that back down and tack it for a few extra seconds, and that's all gonna flatten out for me. And then whenever I hit it with the second time for the second color, it's all gonna cure for me. All right, so, and you'll notice that it happened right next to that seam because it's by that seam and there's not the right amount of pressure that it needs to apply or cure accurately if we're not hitting it for the full time. All right, so just know there are a lot of different things that come into play when you're working close to seams, pressure, and time, okay? All right, so we will go in with the second color and apply right over top of that. This is actually supposed to overlap, so it's actually going to cover up where it got messed up close to that seam a little bit. So all is still working well. All right, so now we are going to apply for the full time. All right, so anytime you're working with multiple colors of heat transfer vinyl, whether it be 2-color, whether it be 3 or 4-color, just know that you can tack each color or each layer and then apply for the full amount of time in that last color that you're heat applying. Right, so for this, I actually am going to increase my pressure a little more and then lock that down. So now I'm more at a firm pressure. I'm really sinking that seam down into the pillow so that the adhesive is curing right around that. So anytime you need to work close to a seam, make sure you just increase that pressure a little bit more. Learn from me. All right, and Ultra Weed as is a hot peel. So as soon as that is complete, we can go ahead and remove that carrier and our application is done. All right, so you can see how easy that product is to work with. I'll hold it up to the camera for you, and how we are also able to work close to seams. Right, this would have went a lot more smoothly if I had just increased my pressure for that first application, but that is a common mistake that can happen just by not having the correct pressure. All right, so 100% cotton t-shirt, super easy to work with. Ultra Weed will apply to cotton poly blends, tri-blends. So anytime you do work with 100% cotton, if you are using Ultra Weed and following those instructions, you want to make sure you are at between 280 to 300. Now you'll notice that I am going to be working with a variety of products throughout all 3 segments of this session. So I am going to leave my temperature at that 300-degree mark. But if I was working with a synthetic fabric like polyester or maybe even viscose, I can actually drop that Ultra Weed temperature to 260. All right, so a lot of variety and versatility that you are capable with when working with this product. All right, the next item that we are going to print is a pair of shorts. So we can either just do the t-shirt and sell it as is if we are gifting, or we can really upsell and also custom print a pair of shorts. So this is 100% cotton. Once again, we know buffalo plaid or any plaid type of pattern is extremely popular around this time of year, whether it be for fall, winter, even into the winter months in the new year. So I'm going to interchange my 11 by 15 for a smaller platen so that I can isolate the print area of the shorts. So I'm going to be loading on a 6 by 10 platen. Right, and it's going to work the same way it did with the 11 by 15. That pin just drops right in and then you can lock it in place. All right, so these shorts, very easy to work with. I am going to print the bottom corner so that it hits that thigh print area. And of course, since we swapped out our platen, once again, we do need to do a preheat to ensure that we are at the right pressure and we are prepping the garment for application. All right, so I am going to increase my pressure. As you could tell, whenever I locked that down, it was hardly even touching the garment. All right, so lots of pressure needing to be added whenever you drop down to such a small platen. All right, so we are reading at a 4 for our pressure. That is perfect. Whenever you are working with a Hotronix machine, 1 to 3 is a light pressure, 4 to 6 is a medium pressure, and 7 to 9 is a firm pressure. As we mentioned, Ultra Weed does apply at a nice medium pressure, so we can look for anywhere between a 4 and 6 for this application. All right, so I'm just placing my design here, and I'm going to let the press do the rest of the work for me. So a little more information on the heat press. So this is still a very user-friendly press. As you can see, I've been maneuvering and working with it very simply. So I'm just swapping out platens, loading on garments. Another great thing about the press is that you can adjust your temperature and your time, and it will read all of that out for you so that you can make sure you are using an accurate instruction or application every single time. Right, so this product, complete, right? No issue there. So you can see when we're not working close to seams or trying to do anything like overly unique that's close to seams or two color or what be, the product is super, super easy to work with. Maybe I should have started with this application so you could see an easy one before a difficult one. But nonetheless, you guys can get an idea of all that is truly capable with heat transfer vinyl and being able to print different things. So as I mentioned, it's really important to think outside of the box. What can you do differently for your customers, your family, your friends for this time of year? Anything that is personal to them, being able to customize unique items and really go above and beyond is definitely going to warrant, unique value in your brand as a custom heat printer. And that completes this segment on printing apparel for gift items. Before we wrap up this session, Mallory, are there any questions that you can think of maybe something I didn't touch on throughout this presentation?
So I am lucky enough to have the Fusion, so I can use those same platens on it. What if one of our customers doesn't have that particular heat press or can't change their platens? What can they do to help make sure that seam isn't an issue?
Yeah, great question. So there are a lot of different accessories out there, especially the pillows, which I personally love. At home, I actually work with a small 15 by 15 heat press. It only allows me to interchange one platen. So I do have to utilize some of those other accessories to ensure that I am getting the right pressure. And it really boils down to these different pillows. All right, so I used this size pillow, but there are smaller ones, bigger ones, and then also a leg and sleeve one, which allows me to isolate my print area on sleeves and of long sleeve t-shirts and pant legs of sweatpants and joggers. So just knowing that these things, these accessories, these things that help you are out there really, really help if you are working with a heat press that does not have interchangeable platens. Some other things are Print Perfect pads. These are silicone rubber pads. They actually look a lot like the silicone pads that are on top of these platens, like this, right? So it's like a thick mouse pad, essentially. And what it does is it actually raises the print area. So if you don't have pillows, or maybe the pillow isn't allowing you to get a firm enough of a pressure because it's sinking down whenever you lock that upper heating element in place, what this will do is actually raise the print area to meet the upper heating element. And this really helps if you're working close to buttons or zippers and things like that, where you really need to get that firm pressure. But those things are out there, so make sure you utilize them so that you can print outside of just basic t-shirts.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right, great. So up next, we have another class that is dedicated to how you can still be able to print apparel for gifting and for the holiday season, but we're actually going to do a bit of an upsell, and we are going to be printing a onesie using some really unique special effect products. And not a baby onesie, this is a full adult onesie that trend a lot during the holiday season. So stay tuned.
Thanks, Jenna. I love those. And like I said, I really do want to call S&S and get those. Those are awesome. And the way you can use Ultraweed at such a low temp when you're dealing with different fabrics is great. So guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that. Remember, it's a 3-part series, so keep checking them out. And you want to know how to win $500? Well, all you need to do is get creative. Do something like Jenna just did, or whatever, using STAHL's material, and then take a picture and tag me on Facebook or Instagram at GSG Vinyl Decorating, and then hashtag Creating the Holiday Spirit, or email me at vinyldecorating@gogsg.com. And then I need you to tell me what STAHLS material you used and any details about how you made your project. I cannot wait to see it all, and I can't wait to give out $500. So definitely get to getting crafty and go ahead and check out part 2 and part 3 with STAHLS. Thanks.